We hear it all the time that we need to be mindful of what we eat, lest we become overweight and develop complications with our health. However, it is not very often that we hear about the possible implications that obesity can have on our ability to perform well at work. The USB Management Review states in an article that obese employees tend to be less productive than non-obese employees because they often perform their tasks less efficiently, require longer rest periods, are more susceptible to illness, and are more likely to be injured on the job. All these concerns mean that millions are lost in productivity hours, revenue, and compensation. Despite the ever-increasing calls for better lifestyle choices, such as exercising, healthier diets, and others, statistics show that obesity will soon be a global crisis, as the Journal on Occupational and Environmental Medicine states that there will be a staggering 130% increase in severe obesity by the year 2030. So then, what HR strategies, as advised by nutritionists, can be adopted to address workplace obesity? We're with Dr. Malebore Eluya, who's a dietitian, to take us through this discussion.
I thank you so much for this topic because it's one area that is very dear to my heart. As a dietitian, I had to literally specialize in weight management because of the extent of the problem that we are having with obesity. In simple terms, obesity cannot be diagnosed by an ordinary person because it's about perception. If I say somebody as an ordinary person is obese, what exactly do I mean? Do they look overweight or what? So as a health care practitioner, there are certain things that I look at to define or to diagnose somebody as being obese. And there are certain criteria that determine such. There may be calculations, certain calculations that we do. They are not the most reliable, like the body mass index, but it's just one step ahead of determining what is it that we are looking at. And just the general physical examination. Where is the fat concentrated at? Mind you, we all have different body types. You know, if you take males, for example, or the male gender, most of the time when they become obese, the fat or the fat centers around the abdominal area. And that is one of the most dangerous types of obesity because that's where the vital organs are. And then there's the other type of obesity around the hip area. You know, most joining somebody will say, but it's not obesity. It is obesity because if you have that type of obesity, there are certain diseases that are unique to that body type. People like that will tend to have knee problems or hip issues because of the weight around that area. Well, the most common ones is diseases that affect how food is metabolized or, you know, the food that you eat, what does it do to the body? But the bottom line is food causes obesity.
While we've already established that obesity can happen to anyone, it also seems to be like there are certain occupations that predispose people to a higher risk of being obese. Why is that?
Well, it depends on the type of occupation. I will not single out a particular occupation, but I'll just give an example of the type of jobs that people, that certain jobs that encourage obesity. If you are working in an environment where you are seated most of the time, you don't move from your desk is where you eat, because you are so busy, focused on your laptop, you don't have time to even go out for a meal. Chances are you'll be very mindless in what you put in your mouth. You know, being a mindless eater is one of the most common contributing factors of obesity because I'm not eating a lot. But whereas you've eaten, you've nibbled this and that, a cup of tea here and there, a biscuit, you know, some snacking. Those when you add all that you've eaten, can contribute to obesity. And then there are those jobs that where you have nowhere else to eat but eating out in fast food places where it's just grab and go. You know, you don't have time for a wholesome home cooked meal. So those type of occupations also tend to encourage or are related to obesity. But then again, some people tend to think or perception that they're too busy to eat properly. And, you know, you can never be too busy to take care of your health, because when you don't take care of your health, your job suffers.
What key recommendations do you think that HR strategies should adopt to address this issue at the workplace, lest it becomes an endemic if it already isn't?
It's already an endemic. Yeah, obesity, if I'm correct, the latest figure is that 29% of Botswana women are obese. I'm not talking about overweight. And I may be incorrect with the numbers, but they're around 29%. And we are talking about at least somebody weighing more than 100 kg, just to give an example. That's a triple digit. And to address from an HR level, I don't think, you know, the workplace is doing enough. Because when it comes to obesity, we are focusing mainly on the eating habits of the employees. Do they understand the importance of eating right and nutrition? I've attended very few, should I say, events where nutrition is included as part of a wellness activity. You know, we focus a lot more as employers or employers on team building, on physical activity, and then the day just goes and then another year comes, but we are not addressing what is the problem areas. How do we address them at organizational level? What permanent strategies can we engage in a particular company to address such problems? So we are definitely far in addressing obesity as most companies. So nutrition is hardly ever featured in most wellness programs.